Raining. Audio by Paper to Audio. Raining. The rain smelled of pine and something older, something like moss and forgotten stone. Elias hadn't realized how much he'd missed the rain, the way it softened the edges of everything, blurred the lines between yesterday and today. He sat on the porch swing, the wood worn smooth beneath him, watching the drops trace patterns on the window pane. It wasn't a sad rain, not exactly, but a rain that held a deep, quiet sadness, a sadness he recognized as his own. He'd been feeling it for weeks, a persistent ache in his chest that settled heaviest after the sun went down. He reached for the mug of chamomile tea his grandmother used to make, the steam warming his face, and thought of her. He'd inherited her cottage, a small, weathered place nestled at the edge of Blackwood Forest. It wasn't a grand estate, just a collection of mismatched rooms filled with the ghosts of her life. Her paintings, half-finished and vibrant with color, her collection of worn books, and the scent of lavender that clung to the linen. It was meant to be a refuge, a place to slow down, but lately it felt more like a holding cell. The quiet was oppressive, the beauty overwhelming. He'd come here hoping to find peace, but instead, he'd found himself wrestling with a grief he couldn't name, a feeling of being adrift. He took a slow sip of tea, the warmth spreading through him, but the sadness remained, a low hum beneath the surface of his awareness. The tension started subtly, a tightness in his shoulders, a knot in his stomach. It wasn't a panic, just a subtle awareness of being off. He noticed it first when he was trying to sort through his grandmother's old photographs, the faces staring back at him from a bygone era. He picked up a picture of her as a young woman, laughing, sunlight catching in her hair, and a strange feeling washed over him, not just nostalgia, but a sharp, unexpected pang of longing for something he couldn't quite grasp. He set the photo down, a flicker of unease passing through him. He told himself it was just the sadness, a manifestation of the grief he was trying to process, but the feeling persisted, growing stronger with each passing hour. He began to avoid the rooms where her paintings were, sensitive to the vibrant colors, afraid they would somehow amplify the emptiness. He started spending his days in the garden, trying to lose himself in the rhythm of weeding and planting. He'd been given a small packet of heirloom seeds, blue poppies, black carrots, silver sage, and he was determined to nurture them, to bring something beautiful into existence. The soil was rich and dark, cool against his hands. He planted the poppy seeds, carefully covering them with earth, and thought about his grandmother's stories of the forest, of how she believed every plant held a memory, a whisper of the past. He imagined the roots of the poppies reaching down, connecting to something ancient and profound. He felt a momentary connection to her, a shared appreciation for the quiet magic of the natural world. It wasn't a solution, not really, but a small, fragile comfort. That evening, he found a small, wooden music box on a shelf in the attic. It was intricately carved with images of woodland creatures and opened with a delicate, tinkling melody. He hadn't seen it before. As he listened to the music, a wave of memories flooded his mind, fragments of his grandmother's childhood, stories she used to tell him about her own mother, a woman he'd never met. He realized then that the sadness he'd been carrying wasn't just his own grief. It was a layered grief, interwoven with the histories of those who had come before him. He recognized a face in one of the photographs accompanying the music box, a woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile, his great-grandmother. He hadn't known she'd lived here, had spent her life tending this very garden. A sudden, sharp doubt pierced through him. Was he somehow repeating a pattern, a cycle of grief and loss? Had he inherited not just the cottage, but something more, a predisposition to sadness, a connection to a lineage marked by sorrow? He sat there for a long moment, the music box playing its mournful tune, battling with this unsettling thought. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and focused on the feeling of the wood beneath his hands, on the scent of lavender, on the warmth of the tea in his mug. He realized something profound. His grandmother hadn't left him with a burden, but with a legacy. A legacy of love, of resilience, of a deep connection to the earth and to those who had come before. The tension in his shoulders began to dissipate, replaced by a growing sense of calm. He opened his eyes and looked around the attic, no longer seeing a space filled with sadness, but a repository of stories, a testament to the enduring power of family. He picked up the music box again, turning it over in his hands, and smiled. He understood now that grief wasn't something to be avoided or suppressed, but something to be acknowledged, honored, and ultimately transformed. He began to see his grandmother's sadness not as a source of pain, but as a part of her, a part of himself, a part of the beautiful, complicated tapestry of his life. The rain outside continued to fall, but it no longer smelled of sadness. It smelled of hope, of connection, of a quiet, unwavering strength. He rose from the floor, feeling lighter, more grounded. He walked back to the porch swing, the warmth of the tea a soothing balm on his soul. The swing moved gently beneath him, and for the first time in weeks, Elias felt truly at peace. He knew the sadness wouldn't disappear entirely, but it no longer felt like a crushing weight. It was simply a part of him, a part he could carry with grace and understanding, a reminder of the enduring bonds that connected him to the past, to his family, and to the quiet magic of the world around him. He reached for another mug, and as he poured the tea, he thought of his grandmother, smiling down at him from the lavender-scented air, and knew that she was, somehow, still with him. You have reached the end of the text.